Okay, we'll get started. If other people trickle in, that's okay. Like I said, tonight's pretty simple. It's light, just kind of give you guys an idea of what this is going to be like. My name is Rob Bean. I teach on campus. This is, I guess, my second DL course in quite a while. I taught one here this last spring, and prior to that, it was probably last summer before I had taught one prior to that. It's been a little while. So this class is going to be unlike probably any other course that you take at William Penn. It's asynchronous, and what that means is all the work will be, all the assignments, videos, readings, etc. will be posted on Sunday night or Monday, and then you will have the week to work on them. Usually everything will be due on Sunday. On occasion, we may have some discussion questions or things that might be due prior to that, but generally I try to hold to Sunday as closely as possible at midnight. Then the next Monday, you'll have a whole new set of things to watch or read or to complete for the next week. And that goes on for the full summer. It's been taught in an 8-week session, but after teaching it in 12 weeks, I like this kind of 12-week session, which you guys are in right now. Just gives us more time to go into depth on some of the topics that you guys will be working with. How many people have taken this DL course already? I know Melanie has, because I had her in class in the spring. Camry, this is your first class? Okay. Mackenzie, first class? Okay. Zoom is pretty easy. You've obviously gotten past the first step, which is getting logged on and seeing me here today. You can control your microphone down in the left-hand corner, and then obviously the video, you guys have figured that out. It's pretty simple. There is a chat box. If there's something you want to ask me or send to me privately, you can do that through the chat just by clicking on that, and then you can toggle through either everyone or individuals you can send messages to. Why don't we introduce ourselves real quick, and that way we can at least get to know each other a little bit through this class, and then I'll go into Moodle and we'll look at the syllabus, and I'll talk about these first couple weeks of assignments. So I guess I'll finish my intro a little bit. On campus, I've been in education since 2001. I taught in 3 different school districts, high school science, middle school and high school science. I've also taught some tag and some health courses. I worked for the Department of Ed for their distance learning program as a consultant for 1.5 years. And then I was an administrator for 2 years, a dean of students, and then an elementary principal. And then I came on at Penn, and I filled a number of different roles at Penn, the biggest one probably being supervision of student teachers. And then I teach just a couple different courses for the ed department. And then sometimes I teach in the biology department as well, if they need me to pick up an environmental biology course. So we'll start with Melanie, since I had Melanie in class here last spring. Just tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from, and that's fine. Anything you want to tell us.
Okay, hi, I'm Melanie. I live in a very small town of about like 85 people. I work full-time as a paraeducator in a special education classroom for the high school that I graduated from. I have a 5-year-old daughter. I just switched to going to school full-time, so I will start student teaching in 2022, which that sounds so weird. Yeah, and I'm getting my endorsements for special ed. Is there anything else you want me to say, Rob?
Nope, that's great. Thank you. Let's have Camry go next.
I'm Camry. This is my first class at William Penn. So I work as a paraeducator in Cedar Rapids in a behavior focus program. I have been doing that since September. So just excited to get started.
Good, thank you. Mackenzie?
All right, I'm Mackenzie. This is also my first class at William Penn. I already have a bachelor's degree. I originally went to Warburg College for neuroscience and psychology, and I finished that program. I had a hard time finding a job, something that I wanted to do, so I started working as a paraeducator in Starmont Elementary, and then I switched to the middle school this year, and I decided I preferred the elementary kids. So I'll be going back down to the elementary next year. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I have a 4-month-old as well. So this is going to be different, but I did college the first time around with a baby, so it won't be too bad.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, let me pull up the Moodle page. So this is our classroom, obviously. You'll find everything here that you need. If you don't find something here and you have a question, you can email me. This is my office number. If you call that office number and leave a message, I get an email that has that message on it. So that's another good way to get a hold of me. If it's something that you think, gosh, Rob really needs to know what's going on with this, you're welcome to call me. Otherwise, there's my cell number. You can text me whenever if you have a question about something, or if possibly I haven't gotten back to your email, you can say, hey, Rob, I sent you an email about this. Can you look at it? And I'll be sure to do that. Let's see. I'm going to talk about week 1 and week 2. No, let's do the syllabus first. I'm not going to take you through the whole syllabus. All the syllabi generally will look the same for the ed department. I'm going to kind of skip through the goals and the standards right now. We will talk about some standards, but it will be later in the term, and so I'm going to kind of leave that. I use a general 90, 80, 70, 60 scale. I like things to be turned in on time. I generally have I used to have a policy, well, I shouldn't say used to, I still do for some courses, have a policy where if you turn things in late, if it's a day late, it is 25, you can earn up to 75% of the total points, and if it's more than that, you can earn up to 60. But for this class, I'm not going to do that. I know it's summer, and the big thing is just completing the work. So as long as we are able to do that, then I'll be satisfied. So if you get behind, I would appreciate it if you say, hey, Rob, I'm not going to get this done by Sunday. My son had a ball tournament all weekend, and I was at the ball field, and I just didn't have time to get done. I understand how those things can get in the way sometimes. So just let me know so I can expect it to be not on time, but try to be on time. The course schedule will look pretty much like this. There may be some changes. Obviously, you see week 1 is the Twitter, Moodle, and branding, which I'll talk about tonight. The plagiarism assignment, which I will talk about tonight. Copyright and fair use, which I'll talk about briefly tonight, not in great detail for that last one. Week 2 is the start of a professional web page. You guys will make a web page in this class, and next week, the only assignment for you is actually to start that and then to read a little bit more on branding. So for some of you, it's probably going to be fairly easy to start the web page. The editor is pretty self-intuitive, but for other people, it may take longer. And so because of that, this is the only assignment you'll have for week 2. And I'll talk about all the assignments here after this. Week 3 is about finding good web resources. We'll talk about something called the Transformational 6. And then you will actually formally complete one page for your web page, because you're going to have several different pages within that professional web page where you'll have a home or landing page, a bio or contact page, a resources page that has resources for your parents and your students. We'll be making a web quest later on, which I'll talk about here shortly, and then you'll have a page of your choice. So you'll do 5 pages, one of which you'll explicitly do week 3 for an assignment. Week 4 is talking about one-to-one classrooms and flipped classrooms. Week 5 is media, audio, and video in the classroom. We will make a video, you will make a video using a program called Screencast-O-Matic that allows you to record what's on your screen and use your webcam so you can have your face down in the corner. It looks, I don't know, as professional as I think you can get for a free program, but you'll teach a lesson using that for week 5. Week 6 will be all about Google. So we'll do stuff with Google Slides, Google Forms, Google Docs, Google Classroom, and maybe Google Sheets. I haven't worked that in yet, but it's coming at some point, and maybe it'll be this summer if I have time to work that in. Week 7 will be the web quest, which is an online lesson, basically, that students take themselves through. And so there'll be a task and a process that they follow and something they would turn in, and you'll make a rubric, and that's also part of your webpage. And so we'll talk about rubrics as well, week 7. Week 8 is kind of a work week because the web quest is so large. It'll be there for you guys to use to work on your web quests and then also work on your web pages. And that should fall fairly close to July 4th, I think. So I think this is the week before, and that's the week of the 4th, I think. And then week 9 is just a handful of different applications, Class Dojo. We probably won't do Edmodo because we're going to do Google Classroom instead. These kind of change as different applications become more popular. But Class Dojo, Plan Book, for sure. We'll probably talk about Flipgrid earlier in the term. Quizlet, Kahoot, depends on how much time we have for that week. But that will all be week 9. Week 10 is kind of open right now. I'd like to kind of leave something open depending on how things fall and how we're doing or how we're progressing. Sometimes we need to insert things there. So right now it says lesson due July 21st. Just disregard that for week 10. That'll change, and I'll let you know when I know more about it. Hi, Matthew. How are you?
Good, good.
Okay. Week 11 is all about professional communication and cyberbullying, and then week 12 is the final exam. We do have a final exam in here. I'd say it's 4 questions, but it takes people probably between 40 minutes to an hour to complete. So it is a little in-depth, but it's not a test that specifically tests like dates and people and those kinds of things like you would think rote memorization type things. It's more of a process type question. So you're going to be reflecting and explaining on things that have been discussed throughout the term. So it's not too bad. Everyone usually does well as long as they answer all the questions that are there. So that's syllabus. Any questions on that? I know I kind of zipped through it. Of any class that I teach, this is one that I probably stick to the syllabus more than any because I'm going to post everything on there each Monday, and you guys are going to work on it. So it should stick right to this really close. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to talk about week 1 and week 2 together, and then we're going to go through a couple, at least one quick and maybe 2 quick slideshows just to share some information for you that'll help with assignments later on. So each week will look fairly much like this. It'll have some sort of description. There'll usually be a video there. So it'll either be a recorded video of myself, it could be a video from a TED Talk, it could be something else. But usually I'm going to have a video of myself explaining the week and what I expect of you from the week. There will be some sort of topics. There'll be a content section. All of that will be used as background information, supporting information for your assignments. And the assessment piece will be down below, and they'll just be listed assessment 1, 2, 3, so on. Like I said, for the most part, everything will be due on Sundays, but there are some things that maybe due on Fridays. So it depends on what I decide to do with it. So that's week 1. Week 2, set up the same way. Short description for this week because I'm going to talk to you tonight about it. And short content and assessment. Like I said, the web page can take some people longer than it takes others, and so I like to leave it fairly open for people to, in case people have trouble. So, but generally there'll be a video here as well. So assignments or assessments for week 1. Just open this up real quick. I know some of you have already completed these, which is awesome, or parts of them, which is awesome. Assignments will range from all kinds of different things like this, where I'm going to have you do stuff off-site, to assignments where I'm going to have you upload things. It's going to vary like that. So you're asked to do a Moodle profile and a Twitter profile. I'm going to talk a little bit about branding tonight and how important that is. You know, you guys as teachers, I'm sure as paras, for those of you that are paras, understand that each teacher kind of has their own identity, their own brand on who they are as an educator in the building. I've talked about this in Social Foundations, which I had Melanie and Matthew in here last spring. You know, you are going to be known as Mr. or Mrs. 5th grade teacher in the community that you are in, and it's not something that you can shake. Once you start working as a teacher, your identity kind of becomes that, and so it's important to set up and build your brand and develop your brand so that you're respected, so that people know what to expect both in your classroom and in public. So your administrators are aware of the type of educator that you are, the type of person that you are. So as you create things for this class, think about that. Think about, what kind of teacher am I going to be? What is my brand? What do I represent as a teacher? Where do I stand for, or what do I stand for education? And think about those things as you build these assignments. You want to be professional. You want to make sure that everything that you do is a good representation of the type of teacher you plan to be. Okay. Questions on that? Twitter was pretty straightforward. Every once in a while we have some people that have trouble with Twitter. I'll go to Twitter here briefly a little bit later. If there aren't any questions, I'll keep going. You know, when it talks about 10 educational people organizations, like I told you, Matt, you know, it's anybody that's a professional educator, works in education. They could be someone that works for the Department of Ed. It could be a teacher. It could be another para. It could be one of your peers. It could be anyone that has some stake in education. Or it could be a group like the NEA, the National Education Association. It could be the Iowa Department of Education. It could be Pearson Education, which is a publisher of books and tests. I mean, it's really open to you guys on what you want to do there. Okay. The one I've looked at some of them. They look great. If you have trouble with that, let me know. Every once in a while, people have trouble with this, and it takes a little tweaking, but we usually are able to work that out. For the Moodle profile, up here in the right-hand corner.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yep.
Remember that video you showed us with that teacher, and he was like the skateboard teacher?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Hamish Brewer.
Yeah.
So I think it's I don't know if it's 2 M's or 1 M, but it's Hamish and then Brewer.
And is that his Twitter?
Yeah, if you look up Hamish Brewer on Twitter, you'll find him.
All right, thanks.
You bet. For the Moodle profile up here in the right-hand corner, you should have your name. If you've already put a picture on there, you'll have a picture, and there's a little drop-down menu. You can click on that, go to Profile, and then you get to see what your profile looks like. And then in the middle of that page, there's a section that says Edit Profile. Simply click on that, and then you can change all your information to whatever you want. It's a standard text editor with bold and italics, and you can change the size of font, and you can add links like I did, and all kinds of fun things there. Your picture is down here, and I haven't done this in a long time. For those of you who have, I think it's just a simple drag, isn't it? You can drag the photo from a file, and then it'll upload. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. Good. So that's that. For those of you that don't have that, if you have questions, let me know. The second assignment is the copyright and fair use discussion. Copyright is one of my least favorite topics, but I think I have to cover it in media methods, and so we do. This is kind of up to you guys. You're going to do a little bit of research on your own. I've provided some information on it. I'm not going to give you a lecture on it, and so it will require some effort on your part, which several things this summer will for this course, since it's asynchronous. Responded to your classmates, something positive about what the author said, something you agree or disagree with and why, and then a question about something they wrote. Just trying to make them reflect upon maybe something they said, or something that an experience that you have that you can ask them about. It's really open to interpretation there for how you want to do that. Try to spread out your responses if you can. If there are people that haven't had responses yet and you're just getting to it, try to respond to those people without replies, just so we can try to create some dialogue back and forth. So that's the copyright and fair use. I'll talk about those resources when I go back to Moodle here, or go back to the class page here in a second. The last assignment for this week is the plagiarism certification exam. This can be kind of a bugger for some people. I know people that have taken it one time and passed it, and I know people that have taken it over 10 times probably, and it took them that many times to pass it. This is from University of Indiana, or excuse me, Indiana University. It is, they actually collect data on it, so they're not collecting your name and using that type of information, but they're collecting data on, are you a undergraduate student, and that kind of thing. You'll use your email to kind of set up a profile. To do that, then they will send you your certification when you're done. So once you pass the test, you can really just kind of walk your way through this. But the main thing that you want to do is go to these tutorials. And every class has suggested that you should do some of these upper level advanced tutorials. Okay, if you just do the basic or novice level, you're going to have a tougher time passing the plagiarism exam, at least if you don't know that much about plagiarism. So the tutorials kind of walk you through it. They're going to show you examples. You get to test your knowledge, and every section of media methods that I've taught, which I've taught one every semester that I've been at Penn, have said do the more advanced tutorials. They're going to help you more when you take the exam. You're not going to take the advanced exam. You're going to take the basic exam. So you'll see here, I'm an undergraduate college student, and after you've signed in, then you'll take the test, and it takes you through a number of questions. I think you have to get them all right. I think there's only 10 questions, but it can be tough. So don't put this off, because you only have until, I think I gave you until July, right before July 4th, to get it done, which is about mid-semester. So spend some time, do the tutorials, and take the test and see if you can pass. And if you can't, go back, look at the tutorials again, and come back and take the test until you can get it correct. Oh, it says 9 out of 10, excuse me. You don't have to get 100%, you have to get 90%. So, okay. Questions on that one? Okay. If you have trouble, let me know. That one's not due on Sunday, okay? It's due, I should have left that window open. Oh, I did have it open, excuse me. July 1st, okay? So you have a month and a half to do it, okay? 47 days. Okay. Week 2 is all about your web page. There's a little bit of content that I want you to read and listen to, which is on leadership or on branding. There's a book that's called Made to Stick. It's really not an education book, but the authors, Chip and Dan Heath, have provided a bunch of resources for educators, for teachers to use in association with their book Made to Stick, which is really talking about making ideas stick, which is what we want to do as teachers. We want our students to be to have our lessons stick in their minds, to teach them something. So there's a little MP3, there's a little like a little blog to listen to, and then a chapter of it, pretty short. I think you'll enjoy reading it. It's got some interesting examples and things in it. This is just background information, okay? So there's nothing that you're going to turn in with this, but it's going to help support you as you develop your brand throughout this course, okay? The big assignment for that week then is assignment 4, which is starting your web page. And you don't have to finish your web page. You're just starting it, and you're getting your introductory pages set up so that you can go back and build them later, okay? So I have a couple of pointers here. It's a free site. Weebly is a free website tool. You want to make sure that you use the Weebly for Education, okay? There's a Weebly site and there's a Weebly for Education site. If you use the Weebly for Education site, you're going to get more features for free, okay, that you won't get if you go just through the Weebly page. And this gentleman here, Greg Sherman, he has a lot of different tech videos on YouTube. He's going to walk you through all the steps to get your webpage started. And he's going to tell you the exact same thing that I just told you. Use Weebly for Education. Okay? Things might look slightly different, but I think generally it's going to be the same. The other pointer that he's going to bring up is when you get to setting up your profile for your webpage and selecting, you're going to select some sort of name. Like this is my webpage that I made on Weebly, so I use my name, which looks a little silly because it has 3 B's in the middle now because it says ROBBBEANE. But regardless, you're going to be able to determine what you want this first part to be. So if you want it to be Miss McKenzie, you can put Miss McKenzie. If you want Miss Phipps, you can put Miss Phipps. Whatever you think is going to be a good professional branding for you, okay? And it might just be your name. It might be Cameron McLaughlin, okay? And it might be period in between, whatever. But that is going to be up to you, okay? Once you set that up, it's going to ask you, do you want to buy a domain name? And so that you could get rid of this Weebly part, you don't need to do that. We don't need to buy anything for this class. This class is everything that we do in here is free. So you'll just say no. You're not gonna buy that. You're just gonna use the free one. Okay. If you have trouble when you get to that, let me know. But this Greg Sherman does an awesome job of explaining everything. If you watch this video, which it's not super long, I'm not sure how long it is exactly. I don't remember. But you watch that video, he'll walk you through everything. What I would maybe recommend is keeping the video open and having another page, and then watching the video and doing his steps as he goes through it. Okay, so that's your whole assignment next week. I'm actually, Friday morning at 6 a.m., I'm flying to Mexico, and so I'm going to be gone from Friday to Wednesday of next week. So if you do run into a roadblock and you're not getting a response from me until Wednesday or Thursday, don't sweat it. I'll make sure that you have time to get things done. So just remember that I'll be gone here for a week, or not quite a week. So if you do have problems, just hold on to them. You can email me so you don't forget. And then when I get back on Wednesday, Thursday, I'll address anything that's in my inbox. Okay. Like I said, this is my webpage. You're going to make something similar to this. There's a lot of different templates to choose. You can change your template later. Once you have it picked out, you can change it a day before you submit your final web page to me. You can change your template if you want. So don't worry about that if you select one and then you get into it and you're like, ugh, I don't really like this one. So you'll have a home or landing page where everybody will go once they type in your address. You'll have a bio page, which is a page that's an about you page that talks about who you are. This contact section could be a part of your bio page. I have it as a separate page, but you're going to have some sort of way for people to get a hold of you. When you sign up for your web page, it's going to require you to put in an email, and they have this nifty tool. You just drag over this contact button basically onto your web page, and then poof, this gets set up just like this. You can change the words on what you want it to say, but it gets set up like this. And the really cool thing, the thing I like about it the most is if someone comes to my webpage, they type their name, their email, and their comment, they hit submit, and then that just goes to my email. So they really don't have my email, but they're able to email me with information. So it's pretty slick. You're not going to do a courses top page, although you could as your open page. My resources page is called technology use, and this is open for you guys to use as well. Obviously, there's videos on all kinds of things that we will cover in this class, and so those are all videos that talk about those topics. This WebQuest is your exact WebQuest assignment for week 7. So I suppose you could take a look at it if you want and to think about it. I wouldn't start on it yet because I'm going to give you more information about it later, but if you want to get an idea of what it's going to look like, that's what it's going to look like. Okay. Let's go back to moving. So questions on week 1 or week 2? Okay. I'm going to pop through these these slideshows real quick. I should open that in a different. These are super basic. we're not gonna spend a great deal of time on them. But I want to share them quick. What time is it? 8:36. Okay, my goal is to be done by 8:45. So this class is all about educational media. We're going to spend the majority of the time on technology type tools to make that media. This class used to incorporate things like making a bulletin board and building a board game and things, and stuff was just really dated, and we felt that students were not getting enough technology instruction, and so the class is more technologically based now. So the question obviously is, what is educational media? So any type of media that you're going to use. So a poster, a lesson, a letter home to a parent, your web page, any media, anything that you create that you're going to use to transfer information to your students and parents or administrators is going to be considered media. Okay, so something that people kind of get caught up on sometimes with this class is they think, oh, it's technology, so it's social media. Social media is just one teeny part of the scope of educational media. Okay? Anything that you create, anything that's personally created or developed by you to be used to transfer information is educational media. Okay? So types of educational media could be text, so a written letter, could be an image, poster, audio, so things like podcasts, video that has audio to it, using music. There's a number of things. We'll talk about all these throughout the semester. And of course, video. And some people probably think I push video a lot. I think it's just a good tool and a good way to store lessons and information for students to use at any age. So we're not going to do that. That's the assignment. Okay, that's done. Sorry, I'm going really fast, but I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I don't think that it's necessary. So this one was visible on Moodle, and then I stopped it being visible. So some of you may have seen this already, but so this is going to talk a little bit about social media, but specifically branding in general. When we talk about branding, it's important, like I said, to represent who you are as an educator and who you want others to view you as an educator. Okay? A lot of teachers can get themselves in trouble with social media because they're either branding themselves incorrectly, or they're like this Willy Wonka here says, he says you're doing social media without a strategy. So a lot of people don't use a strategy, and so they're not branding themselves, and they end up getting into trouble. So this is usually more effective when we have the whole class, and usually person to person, but I'll kind of pop through these. So everyone in this class, except for 2 people, I had 2 people I wasn't sure about. So everybody should see themselves at least once on here, except for I think 2 people. If they're in this class. Some people I had to search a little bit more. I had to do some creative cyber stalking a little bit in order to find you. Like I said, some people I didn't find because I wasn't sure about some of your backgrounds. Matthew, I don't think I found anything on you, at least not that I was sure of anywhere. This is you, Melanie, right? Right here, down in the, okay. I can't remember, I had to do some extra, can't remember what it was. But this is from, I think, one of your friends' Facebook page, is that correct?
I'm guessing it's from my sisters. I don't do social media, so it's either my mom or my sisters.
That's fine. The points that I make with this, and sometimes I find things that are super inappropriate and should not be on social media at all. A lot of times I'll find what I want to see, which is it says, please contact this person to be their friend or to see their information. That's what I would prefer to see generally. But the other side of it is just making sure that what you post, what you put out about yourself on social media, remember that it's out there, and it may not be posted by you, okay? Maybe by your sister. It may be by a friend. And this trail goes on and on and on. So there's a few of these pictures I know from some of your classmates in this in here that are old pictures. So Cameron, how old is this picture of you and Ronald? Oh, you're muted.
That one's like 6 years old.
Yeah. And I know some of these are even older than that, of some of your classmates. And so just remember that this stuff, it stays there. And so something to think about is editing or monitoring your presence online. You know, when you type your name into Google, you should have things come up that, one, that you know about, and two, that are good representations of who you are as a professional. Okay, we'll talk more about this later.
This is Susan, and that's an old Twitter of mine that's not active. I linked a different Twitter in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I look on Twitter. I usually look at three places: Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Sometimes I'll be able to find stuff on VSCO, which is part of Instagram. There are times that I've gone to Pinterest to find things, but you know, it's not to embarrass anyone or do anything like that, but it's just to prove a point that you know, this information is out there and people can find it about you. I've had a personal experience with a student teacher who I supervised who did an excellent job in the classroom. She was highly respected in the classroom as a student teacher. She applied for a job at the district where she student taught. The superintendent called me and said she needs to clean up her social media before I give her an interview. That student didn't clean up their social media, didn't get an interview, and did not get a job. So keep these things in mind as you look at what we're doing with all of this online stuff. Keep those things in mind. Okay. So fun pictures. I think they're all great. Oops. I drew on here a little bit. Okay, so these are examples that I found on other people's web pages, and none of them are terrible, but all of them can lead some people. I'm going to go over my 8:45 time I'm at right now, but I'm getting close. All of them could make, depending on where you're applying for jobs, other people question who you are as a person. Eminem, super popular, devil horns, but you know, he's kind of vulgar in some of his raps, and some people may not like that. That was from College Confessions. I don't know if College Confessions is still around. It used to be an old site where people would type anonymously crazy things that happened in college. It's really nasty, terrible, awful things. This was found on one of my students' pages, because we're drunk. That was another Twitter follow. A bunch of crazy stories about being drunk. This was one from a student, and super funny. I think it's something to share with your peers, but not something that I would post on Facebook probably. So what this is supposed to be is a mug of beer, and it says, "Have a toast of beer," and then the student wrote their name, and this is like a kindergarten or first grade student. So funny, haha, yeah, cute, but some people may see that and say, "Oh my gosh, what is Holly teaching our kids? What is she talking about in the classroom? Is she talking about beer? Is she, you know, are there images of her somewhere with beer?" Or so it's just those perceptions. You want to cut down on those perceptions. This one comes up every year. I see it on all kinds of teachers' web pages or Facebook pages. Funny, haha, yes. Share it with your peers, yes. Post it on Facebook where your parents or administrators could see, probably not. And this is my favorite one. I copied this from a student's Twitter page after we had talked about social media. And since I'm going into teaching, they're telling me to delete all alcohol pictures off Facebook. I'll check back within a few days. That student did clean up their social media because they understood after I talked to them, after using this post in front of them, that it probably wasn't in their best interest to be posting those things. Okay. So a couple things here real quick. Is it okay? Can I call my students' names on my personal page? Rude, germ bags, disengaged, lazy, whiners, etc. No, you cannot do that. Risque content, and that's, you know, in the eye of the beholder on what is risque. Friending a student. as a secondary teacher, as a high school student, or as a high school teacher, my policy was never to friend a student until after they had graduated, and I didn't initiate the friending. They had to request it from me, and then I determined, yes, I will, or no, I won't. Profanity, bad-mouthing the district or your coworkers. My district sucks. My superintendent is an idiot. We're doing all the wrong things here for our kids. Definitely not something you want to post on social media. And the last one is alcohol. This is a tricky one. We're all adults. We can drink responsibly and not get into trouble. Some people don't like alcohol. So just keep that in mind, what kind of image you want to portray. So in each of these cases, teachers in these situations have been fired, okay? So all of these things here are real examples of things that teachers have posted on Facebook or Twitter, and they have lost their jobs because of them, okay? Social media do's and don'ts. I want to get you guys through this because I don't want to be this long tonight. So it's a tool. Remember that nothing is truly private. Obviously, I picked up all those pictures of you guys. If you retweet it or share it, you own it. That's something that Donald Trump needs to remember. He retweets a lot of things, and then he says, oh, I didn't say that. Well, but you retweeted it, which represents an endorsement by you. Personal branding. Every tweet reflects who you are. These are examples of things that you should do on social media. Say thank you, support others, share news, engage in discussion, and post things that are about your personal brand. Okay, and I'll post this video when, or this slideshow when I'm done here. Okay, so 10 things. These are from the American Board for Certification Teacher Excellence. Know your district social media guidelines. You should have some. If you don't, your district is looking for trouble. Do not friend or follow students. Keep your profile pictures clean. Do not affiliate yourself with your school on a personal profile. That's a big one. Maybe you don't want to say, I'm a teacher at Oskaloosa High School. Maybe you want to just leave that off, okay? Do not geotag your posts from or about school. Obviously, you don't want to have misleading information on there. Remember, it is possible to take screenshots of Snapchat and other social media sites. Just because you think it's going away doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go away. Set all social media sites to private. What I do is my Facebook is private. My Twitter, I have 2 accounts. I have a personal one that is private, and then I have a professional one that is public. My professional one is all education. Never mention your school in any post. That's just that bad-mouthing thing. Never complain about your job online, and never ever post pictures of students on social media. Your school should have rules on who you can post pictures of. They have to sign off on it. Just be safe. Don't post any pictures of them. Okay. We're all brands. Like I said, whether you want to be or not, you are going to be expected to be a certain type of teacher. You're going to be expected to be Mackenzie Farmer, the 5th grade teacher. Okay, so you need to start thinking of yourselves as brands. Audit your online presence, and we can talk about that later. But think about what kind of information is out there about me. Google yourself, type your name in, and see what comes up. Secure a professional website, profile, or presence. We're going to do that. We're going to set up a Twitter professional profile. We're going to set up a web page that is a professional web page for you. So we're going to start to build content online about you that people will be able to find when they type in your name on Google, okay? Find ways to produce value. That's another thing we're going to do. We're going to do that through your webpage and through Twitter, okay? You want to start to put out information that represents who you are as a teacher. Be purposeful in what you share, okay? Don't just randomly like everything. Be selective. Be strategic in what you put online. And then the last one is associate with other strong brands. That's that whole networking piece. That's following other educational professionals, interacting with them online. We'll talk about that more later as well. But all of these 6 things we'll start to tackle in this semester. 3 reasons why we should market ourselves, and then we'll be done. Keep up with educational trends. demonstrate your expertise, and develop your network. Those 3 things, and we'll start to do all those this term. Okay. Okay. So I went over. I would. I apologize. So let's just open it up to questions. If you have any questions over week 1 or week 2, now's the time to give them. You can still email me through tomorrow, but after tomorrow, I'm only speaking Spanish for 7 days. Any questions that I can answer for you guys? Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing what you guys create. It's always exciting for me for this class because we do a lot of projects and I get to see a lot of creativity. I want you to keep 2 things in mind. Remember, 1, that you're a brand, and number 2, everything that you create in this class, everything that you develop and work with can be used in your other courses. So, you know, if we create a web quest, save that. Save that knowledge to you in social studies for elementary educators class, where you can maybe create a web quest for that class as part of your assignment. Same thing with Twitter. You know, all these different pieces that we're putting together now, you can use as a student and as a teacher, okay? So don't just take them and then put them on the shelf, because then they'll be useless. Okay? Okay, thanks for bearing with me. I went over by 9 minutes. I apologize. If you have any questions, get a hold of me. Otherwise, watch for your videos. I'm going to try to stay 2 weeks out. So like this week is week 1 and week 2. I won't get week 3 until midweek next week because of Mexico, but then after that I'll have week 2, week 3, and then it'll be week 3, week 4, and so on until the semester's up. So you guys can work ahead if you need to. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Have a good night, and I'll be in touch in a week.